The auto world just got hit by a massive shockwave. Dodge has done something absolutely unthinkable. The company's CEO just announced a price drop so insane that it's shaking the entire performance car market to its core. Imagine this, brand new Dodge Hellcats, once costing over $90,000, are now being offered for nearly half the price. Yes, you heard that right. Some dealers are now listing Hellcats for as low as $40,000, and the entire industry is scrambling to figure out what just happened. So what exactly did Dodge do? Well, this isn't your typical discount or limited time rebate. This is a full-on pricing reset, a desperate yet calculated move to reignite sales that have been plummeting for months. Dodge didn't just cut prices, they detonated a market bomb that no one saw coming. It's the kind of move that sends a clear message. Dodge is done watching its muscle cars sit idle on dealer lots. The Hellcat, once the king of American performance, was collecting dust. Now, Dodge is flipping the script, turning unsold inventory into the hottest deal in the country. But why would Dodge slash the price on one of its most iconic cars? The truth is brutal. Sales have tanked. The era of high interest rates, expensive insurance, and rising fuel costs has crushed demand for high-performance gas guzzlers. Even loyal muscle car fans have been backing away. For months, dealerships across the US were drowning in unsold Chargers and Challengers, with inventories piling up like never before. Combine that with the uncertainty around Dodge's shift to electric vehicles, and buyers simply stopped showing up. Dodge needed a lifeline, and this massive price cut was their nuclear option. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This price collapse isn't just shaking Dodge's world, it's sending panic across the entire automotive industry. Competitors like Chevrolet, Ford, and even Tesla are now on high alert. Ford's Mustang Dark Horse, Chevy's Camaro ZL1, all of them are suddenly overpriced overnight. Buyers who were saving for a Mustang GT are now saying, why spend $60,000 when I can get a Hellcat for less? It's a pricing earthquake that's destroying the value ladder in performance cars. Behind closed doors, automakers are furious. Executives are calling emergency meetings, wondering how to respond without tanking their own profits. The message is clear. If Dodge can afford to slash prices this deep, it exposes just how inflated performance car pricing has become across the board. And that truth is dangerous, especially for brands that built their image on exclusivity and power. Meanwhile, buyers are losing their minds. Social media is on fire with posts of people rushing to dealerships, trying to secure the deal before it disappears. Videos of Hellcats being driven off lots are going viral, and some buyers claim dealers are even marking up again because of the sudden surge in demand. It's chaos, pure and simple, and the kind of chaos Dodge desperately needed to breathe life back into its brand. But the impact doesn't stop there. Dealerships are now caught in a whirlwind. Those who were sitting on dozens of unsold Hellcats just weeks ago are suddenly flooded with buyers. Inventory that was once stagnant is now moving faster than ever. Yet, at the same time, resale values are collapsing. Owners who paid full price just a year or two ago are furious. Their cars just lost tens of thousands of dollars in value overnight. It's a double-edged sword, great for new buyers, devastating for loyal customers. And while Dodge may have sparked short-term excitement, this move could also trigger a market correction across the performance segment. If Dodge can sell Hellcats for $40,000, how long before Ford drops the price on the Mustang GT? Or Chevy slashes the ZL1? This isn't just a price war, it's the beginning of a muscle car meltdown that could reshape the industry for years to come. But that's not even the biggest question. What if this was Dodge's plan all along? What if this insane discount isn't just desperation, but a strategic reset before the brand goes all electric? Dodge knows the era of big V8s is ending. This could be their final blowout, their way of clearing out every last gas-powered beast before the future takes over. And if that's true, this isn't just a sale, it's a farewell party for the Hellcat era. And here's where things get even more dramatic, because Dodge's move is already forcing rivals to reconsider their pricing models, production forecasts, and future plans. Behind the scenes, reports are emerging that Ford, GM, and even Stellantis executives are holding emergency strategy sessions to figure out how to respond. Some insiders claim that Ford dealerships are already whispering about special incentives coming soon for the Mustang lineup, while Chevy is preparing limited edition rebates to keep Camaro buyers from jumping ship. The shockwaves from Dodge's move are spreading fast, and the pressure is mounting for everyone else to follow or risk losing their entire performance market share. Industry analysts are calling this the biggest pricing shakeup since the 2008 recession. And they're not exaggerating. When a $90,000 Hellcat suddenly sells for $40,000, it destroys the illusion of luxury pricing. It exposes how bloated car prices have become and how fragile demand truly is when consumers are strapped with high loan rates and shrinking budgets. Dodge might have just triggered a domino effect, one that forces every automaker to face reality. But here's the thing, Dodge didn't do this just to sell cars. According to early reports, this was a strategic purge. The company wants to clear out every gasoline-powered vehicle before the next generation of electrified muscle cars hits the market. The all-electric Dodge Charger Daytona is right around the corner, and Dodge knows that if it doesn't move inventory now, those unsold Hellcats will become obsolete overnight. So rather than let them rot on lots, Dodge decided to burn the old world down. And make no mistake, the timing of this move is brilliantly brutal. As other automakers struggle with declining EV sales, overpriced trucks, and customer fatigue, Dodge has turned the spotlight back on itself. Suddenly, the brand everyone thought was fading is dominating headlines again. Social media is full of Dodge burnouts, memes, and viral dealership videos. It's a marketing firestorm that no amount of advertising money could buy, and it's all driven by one outrageous decision. Yet beneath the excitement, a deeper tension is building. Industry veterans are warning that these price cuts could implode the used car market. Hellcats that once held their value are now depreciating at record speed, and even used performance models are seeing massive drops in resale prices. Auction houses are reporting panic listings as owners try to dump their cars before the market crashes completely. It's turning into a performance car apocalypse, and Dodge lit the fuse. But the chaos doesn't end there. Dealerships are now facing a bizarre problem. Many are selling out faster than they can restock, while others are fighting over limited inventory allocations. Some buyers are even accusing dealerships of bait-and-switch tactics, advertising 40KT's Hellcats that are gone the moment they arrive. It's pure frenzy, the kind of old-school automotive madness that hasn't been seen since the muscle car boom of the 1960s. Meanwhile, buyers are reveling in victory. For the first time in years, the average enthusiast feels like they've won against the automakers. For so long, performance cars were becoming toys for the wealthy. But now suddenly, regular people can afford 700-plus horsepower monsters again. Dodge has reignited the dream of affordable power, and car communities are celebrating across the internet. Forums, YouTube, TikTok. Everyone's talking about how Dodge just brought the muscle car back to the people. But here's where things take a darker turn. Because if Dodge's plan succeeds, other automakers will be forced to respond in kind. Ford can't sit by while Hellcats undercut Mustangs by $20,000. Chevy can't keep the Camaro ZL1 at $70K if Dodge is selling similar performance for nearly half. Once this pricing war begins, it could spiral out of control, cutting deep into profits, forcing layoffs, and shaking dealer confidence. And for a market already teetering on the edge of oversupply, that could spell disaster. Yet for Dodge, this might be their final act of defiance before the world goes electric. They're saying goodbye to the Hellcat with a bang, a price explosion so wild that it cements the car's legacy forever. Years from now, people will look back and say, remember when Dodge dropped Hellcat prices to $40K? That was the end of an era. And for Dodge, that's exactly the point, to go out in flames, loud, proud, and unapologetic. But what's coming next could be even bigger, because insiders are now hinting that this might just be the first phase of a multi-stage strategy. Sources close to Dodge's internal roadmap claim that this move is just phase one of a bold plan called Project Resurrection. The goal? Completely redefine the Dodge brand before 2026 by wiping out old gas inventory, pulling in a new generation of fans, and then hitting the market with a lineup of hybrid and electric muscle cars that still feel like old-school Dodge, loud, aggressive, and rebellious. But here's the twist. Insiders say Dodge plans to use this price collapse to reset consumer expectations. They want people to see Dodge not as a dying brand, but as a brand that still fights for the driver, the thrill, and the roar of raw power, even in an EV world. And that's where things get even more interesting. Because according to leaked reports, Dodge's new generation of vehicles, including the electric Charger Daytona SRT, could debut at prices lower than anyone expected. We're talking performance EVs starting under $50,000, a direct challenge to Tesla's Model 3 Performance, Ford's Mustang Mach-E GT, and even GM's Corvette EV project. If that's true, Dodge might not just be reacting to the market, they're reprogramming it. But while Dodge's strategy looks genius on paper, automakers are terrified. This kind of aggressive undercutting threatens to destabilize the pricing structure across every performance and luxury segment. BMW's M cars, Audi's RS line, even Tesla's Plaid models, all of them depend on high margins to survive. If Dodge forces a price correction, those profit cushions vanish overnight. And once consumers taste affordable performance again, there's no going back. No one's going to spend 90K on a 500 horsepower car when Dodge is offering 700 horsepower for half that. And let's talk about Wall Street, because investors are starting to sweat. Dodge's parent company Stellantis just took a short-term hit to revenue projections after slashing those prices, but long-term, analysts think this could be a power play to dominate the next market cycle. Think about it. While Ford and GM are struggling to sell their overpriced EVs, Dodge is clearing out inventory, generating massive buzz and building loyalty with a new wave of buyers. They're setting the stage for what might be one of the boldest brand comebacks in automotive history. However, there's a dangerous flip side. This move could also ignite internal tension between Stellantis' brands. Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram dealers are watching Dodge's sudden success with mixed emotions. Jeep dealers, for example, are begging for similar price relief to move their overstocked Grand Cherokees and Wranglers. Ram dealers want rebates on their heavy-duty trucks. And Chrysler? They're practically invisible, desperate for a revival plan of their own. Dodge's price drop might have saved its brand, but it also opened a Pandora's box inside Stellantis that could push the company into an all-out internal pricing war. Meanwhile, in the streets and garages across America, something incredible is happening. The Hellcat culture is being reborn. People who never thought they could afford one are now joining the club. Car meets are packed again. Street racing videos are flooding YouTube. Enthusiasts are calling this the second muscle revolution. And ironically, it's all thanks to a move born out of desperation. But don't think the government isn't watching this either. With Dodge's massive discounts pushing high-emission vehicles back into mainstream circulation, regulators are reportedly raising eyebrows. The EPA and state-level agencies could soon put pressure on Stellantis for effectively promoting gas guzzlers just months before stricter emissions rules kick in. And that might lead to new fines, new taxes, or even restrictions on future production. So Dodge's gamble could turn from a bold victory into a bureaucratic nightmare, unless they can pivot fast enough toward electrification. Yet despite all that risk, Dodge's CEO Tim Kuniskis seems unfazed. In his recent interview, he doubled down, saying something that sent chills through the entire industry. If we're going down swinging louder than anyone else. That one quote encapsulates the entire philosophy behind this move. It's not about survival. It's about legacy, about making sure the name Hellcat roars one last time before the silence of the electric age. And if rumors are true, this isn't the end of Dodge's fireworks. It's only the beginning. Because insiders now claim Dodge is preparing one more shocking reveal, a final limited edition Hellcat, one that could rewrite automotive history and close out the V8 era with something no one's expecting. Whispers inside Dodge's Auburn Hills headquarters suggest this final edition. Hellcat won't just be another paint and badge package. It's rumored to be an 800 horsepower monster, a send-off model built to outshine every American muscle car ever produced. Some insiders even say it will feature tech pulled straight from Dodge's EV development program. Hybridized torque assistance, lightweight carbon components, and a recalibrated supercharger tuned for maximum brutality. This would make it not only the most powerful Hellcat ever made, but also the most symbolic, the bridge between the gasoline past and the electric future. And here's the kicker. Dodge may price this ultimate Hellcat at the same level as the discounted models, around 50K to 60K. That would be a declaration of war. Imagine it, the last pure-blood Hellcat, producing near supercar performance, priced lower than a base Tesla Model Y. It would flip the entire car world upside down. It's not just a car at that point. It's a statement. A roar in the face of an industry that's gone quiet with EV conformity. Automakers are already preparing counterattacks. Ford is reportedly fast-tracking special trims of the Mustang Dark Horse, while GM is rumored to be resurrecting elements of the Camaro Z28 program for one last V8 showdown. What Dodge has done is not just force competition, it has reignited an arms race. The kind we haven't seen since the golden age of Detroit horsepower. But this time, the battlefield isn't racetracks, it's dealer showrooms and online financing portals. Whoever controls affordability now controls the future of performance cars. Meanwhile, enthusiasts are living through a dream they thought was long gone. Online forums are filled with photos of buyers standing next to their new Hellcats, captioned with things like, "Could never afford this before, thank you Dodge." It's emotional, it's nostalgic, and it's exactly what Dodge wanted, to create a bond between brand and driver that transcends horsepower and price tags. Dodge isn't just selling cars right now, they're selling rebellion. Dealerships, on the other hand, are scrambling to adapt. Some have already sold through months of allocation in just days. Others are begging Stellantis for more inventory, even as production winds down. There are stories of buyers traveling across state lines just to grab one of the last Hellcats at these prices. It's chaos, but it's profitable chaos. Dodge dealers haven't seen this kind of traffic since the peak of the 2015 muscle craze. But under the surface, there's anxiety, because everyone knows this can't last forever. Once these cars are gone, they're gone for good. And that's the emotional hook Dodge is playing with masterfully. The final chance. Every advertisement, every headline, every viral video is feeding that sense of urgency. Get one before they're extinct. It's not just marketing. It's a farewell tour. And it's working. People aren't buying Hellcats just for speed anymore. They're buying them for history. To say they owned a piece of the last true American muscle era before it fades into silence. But there's another layer to this story. A move. Dodge might be planning next that could blow the lid off the entire industry again. Sources claim that once the final Hellcat inventory sells out, Dodge is preparing to drop prices on its hybrid Hornet and upcoming Charger EV lineup using the same strategy that just rocked the muscle world. If they pull that off, Dodge could become the first legacy brand to make performance EVs truly accessible, not just to wealthy early adopters, but to everyday drivers. And that could transform Dodge from an underdog to an industry leader overnight. The ripple effects of this are only beginning to show. Insurance companies are adjusting their risk models because of the sudden spike in high horsepower car ownership. Aftermarket tuners and parts suppliers are overwhelmed with demand from new Hellcat owners. Even gas stations in small towns are reporting surges in premium fuel sales. The entire ecosystem around performance cars has suddenly come back to life, all because Dodge decided to light a match and watch the market burn. And yet, beneath all the hype, there's a deeper question that's starting to echo across the industry. Did Dodge just accidentally expose the truth about modern car pricing? Because that's the question keeping executives awake at night. For years, automakers have steadily increased prices, hiding behind words like premium materials, advanced technology, and market adjustments. But Dodge's sudden price drop has peeled that mask off completely. If a $90,000 Hellcat can be sold for $40,000 and still make sense financially, it exposes a harsh reality. The car industry has been overcharging customers for years. Consumers are realizing it too. Social media is flooded with posts comparing profit margins, manufacturing costs, and dealer markups. People are asking, if Dodge can do it, why can't Ford? Why can't GM? Why are EVs still $70,000 when battery prices are falling? The illusion of value is cracking, and Dodge, intentionally or not, just triggered a consumer awakening. Industry insiders are calling it a pricing reckoning. Because now, automakers face a dilemma: either lower prices to stay competitive, or risk alienating customers who now know the truth. Some are already reacting quietly. There are whispers that GM might soon introduce inventory relief discounts on the Camaro and Corvette. Ford might roll out performance loyalty credits to keep Mustang buyers from defecting. Even Tesla could be forced to adjust pricing again to maintain its dominance in the high-performance segment. But here's the irony. Dodge, the brand once mocked for being outdated, might have just become the most disruptive force in the entire automotive world. They didn't need new technology to shake the system. They just needed to remind everyone what real value feels like. In a world obsessed with software updates and subscription fees, Dodge gave people something tangible: raw power, real metal, and honest pricing. However, this bold gamble carries serious risk. Financial analysts warn that if this strategy backfires, Dodge could face severe revenue shortfalls in the next quarter. Slashing prices so drastically doesn't just attract buyers, it also lowers profit margins across the board. If Dodge can't sell enough volume to make up for it, Stellantis might be forced to cut costs elsewhere, meaning possible production slowdowns, layoffs, or dealership closures. And yet, the Dodge faithful don't seem worried. In fact, they're energized. Car meets are packed with new owners showing off their 90K Hellcats, revving in parking lots like it's 2016 all over again. The roar of those supercharged V8s echoing through suburban neighborhoods feels like a rebellion against the sanitized, quiet world of electric cars. To many, Dodge isn't just selling vehicles, it's selling freedom. Meanwhile, used car prices are collapsing at an unprecedented rate. Owners who once saw their Hellcats as investments are now furious. Some are suing dealerships for false valuation promises, claiming they were misled about resale potential. Auctions are flooded with listings, and resale platforms like Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer are seeing a surge in listings for barely driven performance cars as owners try to bail before values drop further. But even with all that chaos, the buzz around Dodge refuses to fade. Their gamble, as reckless as it looks, has put them at the center of every conversation. The media can't stop talking about it. Dealerships can't keep up, and rival CEOs can't hide their frustration. Dodge has done something that every automaker secretly dreams of but never dares to do. They've reset the market. Now, as we move into the final quarter of the year, the automotive world is holding its breath. Will Dodge's strategy trigger a full-blown pricing revolution across the industry? Will Ford and GM join the war? Or will Dodge burn out in its own blaze of glory? Because according to the latest leaks, Dodge isn't done yet. In fact, insiders claim that this entire price collapse is just the setup for something far bigger, something that could permanently alter how cars are sold, financed, and valued in America. That's right. Word inside Stellantis is that Dodge's next phase will completely restructure how consumers buy cars, breaking away from the traditional dealership system altogether. Insiders are calling it the direct power model, and if it's real, it could flip the US car sales system upside down. According to leaked documents, Dodge plans to launch a factory direct buying program, allowing customers to order cars straight from Dodge's central inventory, bypassing dealer markups, hidden fees, and the aggressive upselling that's driven buyers away for years. If true, this would be nothing short of revolutionary. For decades, automakers have relied on dealership networks to move their vehicles, but that model has become bloated, outdated, and deeply unpopular with consumers. Dodge's plan could mirror the Tesla approach: online ordering, fixed national pricing, and transparent delivery times. But here's where Dodge might take it further, offering loyalty-based pricing and dynamic discounts for repeat customers, something no legacy automaker has dared to try. Imagine this. You've owned a Charger before, and Dodge gives you an automatic $5,000 discount toward your next one. Or you buy a Hellcat and get a guaranteed trade-in value for your next EV model. That kind of customer-first pricing system could create long-term loyalty unlike anything in the current market. And for Dodge, a brand rebuilding its identity in a world shifting to electrification, that could be the key to survival. Now, the dealers are not happy about this, not one bit. Many Dodge dealers are already furious about the Hellcat price collapse because it destroyed their profit margins. If Dodge now moves to direct-to-consumer sales, it could mean the death of the traditional Dodge dealership as we know it. Some reports suggest dealer coalitions are already lobbying against it, threatening legal action to block the move in states where direct sales are restricted. But make no mistake, once the public gets a taste of transparent pricing, there's no turning back. And this isn't just a business shift, it's cultural. Dodge is positioning itself as the people's brand again. While others chase software subscriptions, self-driving gimmicks, and minimalist silence, Dodge is saying, "We're here for the drivers, the ones who want control, noise, and emotion." It's a powerful message, especially in a time when so many enthusiasts feel alienated by the direction the industry is going. At the same time, Dodge's boldness has inspired chaos in boardrooms across Detroit and Silicon Valley alike. GM's leadership team reportedly held a 3-hour emergency meeting to discuss pricing transparency models, while Ford is said to be exploring its own version of a direct hybrid sales system to compete. Even Tesla insiders are reportedly paying attention, because Dodge is proving that emotion still sells, and that brute force marketing, when timed right, can outshine algorithms and battery ranges. But here's where the story gets even crazier. Dodge's internal sources hint that the next phase of this rollout will include subscription-based performance ownership. Sounds strange? Think of it like this. Instead of buying a single model, customers could subscribe to a Dodge Performance Pass, giving them access to different vehicles throughout the year, maybe a Charger 1 month, a Challenger the next, and even future EVs once they launch. It's flexible, it's modern, and it's disruptive, and it could attract a younger generation that's priced out of ownership, but still craves power and status. Analysts say this could be Dodge's way of preparing for a future, where ownership becomes optional but passion remains the selling point. In other words, they're future-proofing the muscle car. By using the Hellcat price collapse as a launchpad, Dodge might be rewriting its business DNA entirely, transforming from an old-school horsepower brand into a modern performance ecosystem.